Hey y'all, thanks so much for joining us today at The Heart. My name is Dominic Insenius. I'm the leader of this church community, and I'm so grateful that you have taken some time out of your day in your journey of faith to be a part of what God is doing here in the city of San Marcos. We have a saying around here, you don't have to go to church here to go to church here, and that means you are welcome to enjoy this message from your tablet, phone, or computer, wherever you're watching it on. Big things can happen when we expect God to move. So I pray today that God would speak to you through this message. The message today can encourage you and empower you to move throughout your week and what's next in your life. So enjoy this message.
This last message series that we're doing has been called What We've Learned. And what I wanted to do for the last couple of weeks is just kind of reflect back on the time that we've had together over 8 years. If you didn't know, The Heart is just a little over 8 years old. So 8.5 years ago, there was a few of us that some who are still here today that, you know, we were in a living room trying to figure it out, trying to say, okay, look, I think we want to start a church. What does that look like? And, you know, everyone in the room was like, well, I grew up in church and I hated it. I'm like, all right, good call. So let's start one then. And we were able to kind of talk through the things that were difficult about growing up in church. And I know not everybody has the same background, went to the same churches, whatever. And so as we were starting a church, we were kind of thinking through, how do we create a place where people, no matter what, can be able to explore their faith, to ask questions about their faith. And how do we do that? How can we do that? Because this is what it was difficult, at least for some of the churches I went to, and maybe some of the ones that you've experienced, that it seemed like, or it felt like, or it can feel like, that churches, when you go to church, they're way more interested in, are you behaving correctly? Right? It seems like, are you saying the right things? Are you not watching rated R movies or whatever you think the rules are supposed to be? And so church can feel, for some of us, it can feel like this kind of behavior thing. And there can be this guilt associated with that. There's guilt associated with, you know, not having, if you miss a couple of Sundays, there's this guilt that comes up. Like, well, if I show up, it's been a couple Sundays, or it's been a year, or it's been 2 years, or whatever, and now I feel guilty. And so there's all this guilt that comes with it. And so what we have tried to do over the last 8 years at The Heart is create a space where we intentionally remove as much of all of that shenanigans as possible, where we can just have a space to ask a few questions about faith, to ask a few questions of God, to explore different perspectives, and not throwing, kind of the baby out with the bathwater, right? Not saying, we're gonna throw away everything that church has ever done, because if you look back at some of the teachings of Jesus, and I'm sure maybe some of us have experienced a little bit of church life, or maybe some church people, or what have you. Maybe we all have somebody in our life that has made space for us to kind of be who we are, and that's kind of what I want to dig into today. One of the things that we have learned is the value of connection. Now, I personally have an easy time connecting with people. I know not everybody does. When it comes to the welcome here, right in the message, the introverts in the room are like, no thanks, I'm good. Pretend to check your watch or whatever. I get it. That's so. I'm not talking about being extroverted though. As we talk about connection today for the next hour and a half, I'm not talking about being extroverted. I'm talking about connecting with people, making space to connect with others. And what I have seen over the last 8 years is that making space for that connection, intentionally connecting, not just happening to be, because there's areas in our life, like let's say at work, where you're just forced to be around. Force is maybe a wrong word for work, but you know what I mean. Where there's certain people you're around, you're like, well, I didn't hire these people. It's not my choice, but, we'll get along. So there's areas like that in our life, but there's also areas in our life where we can create connection, which you can do at work, by the way. You don't have to. I'm not telling you to do that. And so what I wanted to talk about today is actually someone very special. Her name is Zelina Borrego. I told her I was going to talk a lot about her today. Today, she's been on our leadership team for maybe 3 years. Do you know how long you've been in leadership? I should have asked that. 3 or 4 years? Yeah. And I thought about Zelina for this message today as far as for connection. And I told her I was going to talk a lot about her today. She said, okay. She didn't ask me what, so that's on her. No heckling, please. Can we have her removed, security? So she's been in our leadership for almost 4 years, and she already had a trip planned for this coming weekend. So our last Sunday at the Heart, she won't be here, which is actually perfect, because if you know anything about Zelina's dynamic, is she like every 4 Sundays has Sunday off because she's going to she's going to Vegas or she's on some trip, and we're like, well, another trip for Zelina. So it's kind of funny. But I asked her to kind of, as I was thinking about her journey at the Heart, I asked her to kind of put some words together too, and when I think of Zelina, and this is just I hope you kind of hear where I'm coming from. This is one example of so many different areas of connection that we have done. Is Zelina didn't start coming to the Heart because she was looking for a church. When we were meeting, was anybody here when we were meeting at Evo, the spot, the movie theater? A few people. So we used to meet at this movie theater. Great location. It was so fun. We had this really cool space, and Zelina was one of the people that worked at Evo that would kind of open the building for us and turn on the lights or whatever, get us what we need. And that's how she found out about the Heart. And so she would kind of hang out and listen to the messages and the music a little bit and that kind of thing. And I don't know exactly who invited her, if she just started to just come up on Sundays, even before or even when she wasn't working. And then she said, I don't remember this specifically, but she said I invited her to be on the production team. Invited her. Gotcha. What are you doing for the next 5 or 6 years on Sundays? And then so she was on our production team for a long time, and then I asked her to lead the production team, and she's been on our top leadership team, or our not top, but our leadership team for almost 4 years. And it's not just about the things that she does, right? The things that you do alone are not going to grow your faith, in my opinion. It's the connection to the people around you, in my opinion, and what I have seen, what I have experienced, that makes space for faith to grow. It makes space for growth in general. I can look back and see on my end, and when I say this, this is not a brag, which I am not opposed to bragging. I love it, actually, but this one is not. Is I never thought that I'm going to do something special for Zelina. I never thought I am going to I am going to be a hero to Zelina, and I'm going to do these amazing things for Zelina. For me, what we've been doing here at the Heart has always been people matter. Whatever your background, wherever you came from, whatever your struggles, whatever your flaws, whatever your red flags, and you all have some, especially in the back. That whatever those are, we need space. We need space to be who we are now. I don't want to speak for your church experience, but I know for mine and some people that I've talked to, is it's so hard to find a space of faith, a place of faith that allows you to be just where you are today. There's this pressure, whether we put it on ourselves or it's put on us, that when you come to a church or a particular church community, that, man, it seems like everybody's got it together. I wish I had it together. And those kinds of things, those kinds of thoughts, whether they're put on us or on our own, it leads us away from growth. It takes away that space to grow our faith. That's what we talk about a lot here at the Heart, is making space to grow our faith. That's what we want. We want to grow our faith. We want to pursue that faith. And I think that's going to be one of the hardest things for me, with next week being our last week. And, it's been just an honor to be able to create that space for some of you that are here today, for people that have come and gone. Our first message of this series of what we learned was to hold on loosely, right? Hold on loosely to the people that come to the church, to let them experience what they need to experience and move on to be a part of a journey of faith. What an amazing opportunity. And I can say this with all sincerity, with all integrity, is that I've never grown weary of that, of being able to do that for people. And it seems so natural. I don't feel like we were doing anything to go against the grain, or we're doing things different at the heart so we can really buck the system. It was just, how can we make space for people to be who they are and not have to worry about where they need to go, where they need to be, the behavior that they need to change. I want to read a scripture today from the book of Hebrews. No jokes coming. And I want to read chapter 10, verses 23 through 25. As we read this, I want it to be through the lens of connecting with each other, being there for each other, making space for each other. So let's read this. This is out of the New Living Translation. It says, "Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near." I love, I think this was cool too, because our first message was hold loosely. And then in this particular verse, it says hold on tightly. That's really how life is, isn't it? What are we supposed to do? And here's the short answer to what you're supposed to do. I don't know. But I like that when it comes to the hope that we have in God, that you can hold tightly to. Don't lose that. Don't lose that hope. Because that hope sustains. That hope can sustain through the highs and the lows. And I was just talking this morning to our team that one of the things I've been reflecting on, over these past 8 years is the lows, the challenges, the hard conversations, the tears are just as shaping and powerful and impactful as the great experiences we've had, as the best message series we had, as the best songs that we've done, the best events that we've had, the best baptisms we had, whatever it is. Those things shape us, and I'm grateful for it. And I want you to be able, as you reflect on maybe your time here at the Heart, or your time in your family, or at work, or whatever is going on in your faith right now, that I hope you reflect on it and embrace every moment of it. Let them all shape you, every moment, the good and the bad. I'm going to read this one more time. "Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise." Watch this, 24. "Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works." Let us think of ways to motivate one another to do good things, to do acts of love. I think for me, that's what it means to be in connection with others. It takes intention. Truly, it takes intention to be connected to others. Because you have to be intentional about a phone call, or a text message, or a FaceTime, or meet up for dinner. I'm surprised anybody has time in their life ever to meet up with a friend for dinner. You know how much has to be sacrificed? It takes intention, but it matters. Connection matters because people matter. Connection matters because people matter. So like I said, you don't need to be an extrovert, this message, and you don't need to be like me. You don't need to be extroverted. You don't need to be a social person to connect with the people around you. In fact, you can have people in your life already that you can choose today, if you're there, if you want to, if you so choose, to go deeper in connection with those people. And what's amazing about connection, at least what I have seen, and even just in the context that we're talking about here at the church in this community, what I have seen is what connection does is it makes people feel safe. And you know what connection does is it makes people feel seen. It makes people feel known. And I think maybe I will speak for you in this one. I usually don't like to speak for you, but I'm going to right now. I would say at some level, everyone in this room wants to feel seen and known. And to me, that's one of the most powerful things in our relationship with God and our faith with God is that God knows us for who we are, right? He knows us for who we are, but he also knows who we have been. And with this weird twist of fate, he also knows who we will become or who we won't become. And so no matter who you have been and who you are now and who you may become, God's love, God's hope sustains. That's powerful. To be able to hold on tightly to a love, to a hope that was there before, during, and will be there after. And that's what we can have a small glimpse of when we choose to intentionally connect. When we say, I don't care what your flaws are. I don't care what your red flags are. I am going to make space for you to be who you are. In fact, I wrote this down here. Choosing connection doesn't mean that you tolerate everything, right? It doesn't mean that you now become a doormat for people to walk on. Like, well, Dom said I'd choose connection, so whatever comes my way, I'm choosing connection. What it means is you make space for people to be human. Because people are going to make mistakes, and people are going to let you down, and people are going to whatever. And I'm not trying to speak that over your life. It's going to be rough out there. But when you make space for people to be human, defenses come down. Love has a chance to grow. Faith has a chance to grow. That's what I've seen. That's what we've learned over the last 8 years. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in the people around me. I've seen it happen in me. The people that I'm most connected with, the people that I'm most deeply connected with, I feel seen. I feel known. So I have no defenses up. In fact, few of the friends that I've made here at the Heart, my defenses are up, and I'll confirm in a second, and if they shake their head, then I just won't say anything. But my defenses are up so not often that when they are up, I get feedback pretty quickly. Would you all say that's fair? They're texting. Connection matters because people matter. And in the context of faith, I wrote this down too for you. I would say that a connected faith is always going to be fuller, and I said always. A connected faith is always going to be fuller than an isolated faith. Can you stay at home all the time and read the Bible and watch church online and listen to music and whatever? Can you do that? Yes. Will your faith grow? Probably. But it's when we choose to intentionally connect that our faith really has a chance to expand. It really has a chance to find depth. I told Zelina that I was going to talk a lot about her today. And one of the things that Zelina told me is here at the Heart, she's been able to explore her faith because she's been able to be exactly who she is. And I don't think we're heroes here at the Heart. In fact, the opposite. I feel like I have felt like I see kind of the ways that churches have approached different things about people. Like I said earlier, where your behavior matters, and if you can belong, it really depends on if you're behaving the right way, if you're doing the right things, if you're saying the right things. And that's just never mattered to us. Truly has never mattered to us. Which I've had a few conversations over the years why some people have left the Heart, because we were focused on making sure people were behaving the right way. One thing I've learned is that people don't need to be told how to practice their faith. They need to be invited to explore it. There are people who want to be told what to do, who want to be told what to believe, who want to be told what to say, and that's okay. You just won't like it here at all. And that's okay if you don't like it here, because next week is our last Sunday and you never have to deal with us again. Let's really send it out with a bang. And I really hope, if today is your first Sunday that you've ever been here, or you've been here from the beginning, I really hope that there's a piece of you that has felt seen, that has felt known, that you've experienced connection. Because as we move forward, right, and the Heart goes away, the Heart was never really about Sunday. The Heart was never really about making sure we had events that we could go to. It's about adjusting our perspective on what faith can be. Can you imagine a world where you're safe to practice your faith, to ask questions of your faith without fear of being judged? That's what we've been trying to do. Can you imagine a space where no matter what you have done in the past, the mistakes that you have made, the mess that you're in the middle of right now, is anybody in the middle of a mess right now? I want to know. Anybody in the middle of a mess in their life? Can you put your hand up? My hand is up for this one. Okay. Yeah, we got some messes, and not everybody's in a mess, and that's okay. You know what we can do, though, is we can be in those messes together. The connection that we have with each other, it makes those messes, it doesn't make them easy, it makes them easier. Because you can go through a mess alone, okay? You can deal with these challenges that are, maybe you just got out of a mess recently, and you need a breather before you jump into another one, right? Maybe you got a mess on the way and you see it coming, you can smell it coming, like it's the clouds, there's a storm coming. And I'm not even saying that to be negative. There will be a storm coming, but no need to fear. Because we have each other. And you don't need Miller Middle School or Hernandez Elementary or Evo or Crockett, all the places that we've met. We don't need those places to be there for each other. when we choose to stay connected. It makes the challenges of life, the burdens of life, the messes, the dark times that we go through, it makes them a little bit brighter because we're not there alone. Being able to be there for others, to really be there. I've experienced how freeing it can be when you feel like you're in the biggest mess of your life, when you feel like nothing can get worse, and someone you're connected with can shoot you a text and say, I just want you to know that I love you. So what I want you to do, I can't tell you who to do it with, but I want you to choose connection. I want you to choose connection even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, because that's when the power of connection really shows itself. And I promise you, if you want your faith to grow, the way to do that is to stay connected with others. You can read your Bible, yes, sure. Do your thing. You can sing worship songs. Do it, sing it, belt it. You can go to Connect Group. You can go to church on Sundays. Do those things. But don't let any of those things replace the connection with others, the connection with the people around you. People matter. That's why connection matters. I want to pray this morning. If you could pray with me, I want you to, if you're comfortable, grab somebody's hand next to you. And for this one, you can bow your head if you want to. You can close your eyes if you want to, but you can also keep them open. I'm going to keep mine open. I'm just grateful. God, I pray today that we would be present in this moment right now. That the messes we've come out of, or the mess that we're in now, or the mess that is on the way, I pray that we would hold tightly to your hope. That we would hold tightly to your love. God, help us to be brave as we connect with those around us. Help us to be brave and reach out when we feel alone, to reach out when we're having trouble. We thank you for today. We love you, and we pray that in your name. Amen.
Y'all, thanks so much for joining us today at The Heart. To find out what is next for you in your journey of faith, I want to invite you to go to theheart.church/next, see what's in store for you, get in touch with us. We would love to be able to connect with you and see how we can partner with you in your journey. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.